inverted U hypothesis. I will come to that a little later. And now there are new Marx approach, and this approach talk about the capital accumulations. I will discuss that also in the later. And now, in recent years, Amartya Sen's approach of human development, and then Amartya Sen, as you all know, he talks about the human development, enlarging the choices of people by inbinding education and skill to have a longer, fuller, healthier, a decent standard of life. So without education and skill and health, income alone cannot do anything. Okay, and now recently the 11th 5-year plan, as you all know, Sukhdev Thorat has given a new idea of development, and that idea is known as the inclusive arguments, inclusive development. So in the development frame, most of the marginal people, weaker sections of the people, the rural people, women, children have been neglected. It is the responsibility of the government to include these neglected communities, neglected regions, neglected sectors into the mainstream. Now we are talking about the most important thing, that is the recent theoretical work and the empirical work done by the Thomas Piketty. This Thomas Piketty, he explains the inequality exists in the developing countries is not the today. It is not because of the today's governance or the consequences. It has got the historical reasons. Historically, some of the reasons have been neglected. Historically, some of the communities have been neglected. Historically, some of the people have been neglected. Historically, some of the societies have been neglected. Because of these historical reasons, the opportunities have been denied. The capital was denied. The land was denied. So like the education was denied. Because of these historical reasons, today we have a problem of inequality, and this inequality I will talk about later. It is according to Thomas Piketty, it is a crony capital. Anybody heard about the crony capital? Anybody can respond? What is crony capital? Okay, let us discuss later. Right. Let me move on to the next slide. So this is Thomas Piketty, and I am not taking much of your time for this explaining what is poverty, because since we are all the teachers of economics, particularly working in the degree colleges, you know all these definitions. I am not wasting your time. But for me, the World Bank definition is very, very important, because in my later slides, I will discuss about how do the World Bank look into the development and inequality. According to the World Bank definition, the extreme poverty, the people who are having less than $1.9 a day, that is known as extreme poverty. In the world, there are 9.2% of the people living under the extreme poverty. Like higher poverty line, people living on less than $3.2 a day, and their volume is almost 24%, meaning in the world, 24% of the people are incapable of having $3.2 a day. And lower poverty line, or what really we call it as the Indian poverty line, general poverty line, the people living on less than $5.5, so their percentage is 43.6%. So meaning 43.6% of the people in the country are incapable to earn at least $5.5. For example, in India, in Indian currency, if you convert that $5.5, it comes around 500 rupees. So 43% of the people in the world are incapable of earning 500 rupees a day. That is the pathetic situation existing in the world. Okay, let me move on to, according to our planning commission, if a person not able to fulfill attain the 2,400 calories and 2,100 calories at urban areas, they are treated as the poor. Nowadays, we are talking about the multidimensional poverty, and then absolute poverty, relative poverty, and human poverty 1 and 2. There are two different types of human poverties, one for the underdeveloped and developing countries, and another for the developed countries. The poverty in the developed countries is defined and explained in different way. The poverty and hunger defined and explained in a different way for the developing and underdeveloped countries. Okay, so what are the efforts made in India to understand the volume of poverty existing in India? So some efforts starting from Suresh Tendulkar committee report way back in 1909 and 10, there were 354 million, almost 29% of the people, population is under the poverty, and there are different committees, Rangarajan committees, Dutch Bank research, and then what you call Sandhya Krishnan and Neeraj Hatekar work on poverty. There are many research and the reports to explain what is the amount of poverty. And recently, the poverty has been, according to the government of Indian reports, they claim that poverty has come down drastically and it is less than 20%. And at the same time, there is no proof given by the government. That is also missing, whatever it may be. The major question here it is, why do poverty in the world? Why some of the countries have been able to achieve development and the large number of countries, majority of the countries have failed to achieve the development? Look at here, the development opportunities are not equitably distributed among all the countries of the world. What do you mean by equitably distributed? For example, there are two students. One's height is 4 feet and another's height is 5 feet. If you hang a mango at 6 feet, according to you, you are not doing any injustice. But the student who is 5 feet, he is more access to the mango compared to the student who is with the 4 feet of height. So if you want to do equitable justice, then for a student who is 4 feet, you give him 1 feet height of extra chair, so that two people equally can touch that mango or access to that mango. So you have hanged mangoes, but only one person can have it. Other person is missed the opportunity. That is not the right way of giving justice. The justice has to be given equitable. So why it has happened so? The availability of resources, advancement of technology, the government strategies, magnitude of investment, the export opportunity of capital, and high value goods have largely determined the speed and process of development. So these are the very, very important things. If you have resources, you have the possibility of achieving the development. If you have technology, you have the possibility of achieving the development. If the government strategies are very good and efficient, then you have the possibility of achieving the development. If you have the investment, high investment, huge investment, And if you have export of the capital goods, so because the value of the capital goods are very high, so then your speed of development is very fast. If you don't have resources, if you don't have technology, if you don't have capital, and you don't have opportunity to export the capital goods, then your possibilities are very less. The countries which had advantage of these said determinants have achieved higher development, and others have lagged behind. Hence, there are developing, and underdeveloped countries in the world. Today, we categorize high income countries, medium income countries, low medium income countries, and lower income countries. On what basis? Based on the income. Even today, if you're talking about the sustainable development, human development, again and again, income is the major criteria in order to decide whether you have developed or not. Because income is a stronger determinant. Okay. How can we understand this development and inequality? Look at here, in 1978, the World Bank has categorized the countries of the world based on their income. Economic development in terms of national income per person or GNI per capita. In the first time, World Bank has classified the countries into lower and middle income countries. There are only two income countries. Now, what is the criteria? It is the per capita income. Based on the per capita income, the World Bank has divided the whole world into two parts in 1978 as lower income countries and middle income countries. There are no upper income countries during 1978. In 1983, this middle income group split into two groups as lower middle income and upper middle income. Again, in 1989, the concept of high income has introduced by the World Bank. So in 1989, the high income country definition was introduced. Okay, how this has been identified? How can you identify a country as a low income, a country as a lower middle income, upper middle income, high income? It is based on the per capita income. These thresholds, what is the criteria for identifying a country as a lower income country? That is based on the per capita income. If the per capita income of a country is less than $1,025, then that country is treated as low income country. If a country is having the per capita income between 1,025 to 3,995, almost 4,000, then the country will be treated as the lower middle income countries. If the country is between the income of 3,995 and 12,375, and that country will be treated as upper middle income country. Lastly, if the country is having the income more than 12,375, then that country will be treated as, considered as, identified as high income country. Okay, so these are the four different types of the countries today exist in the world. So this division clearly explains the existence of inequalities among the countries. The unequal development opportunities have created huge inequalities among the countries of the world. The countries which have had the opportunities to have the resources, technology, capital, market opportunities, export opportunities, they have achieved development. The countries which have poor governance, low resources, less capital, they have failed to achieve the development. Okay, yes, we have understood the inequality and the development of the world. Why there is inequality at the national level? The sovereign democratic countries or the government should provide equal opportunity to its subnations or states to achieve equitable development. However, this has not been found in most of the countries of the world. There are seen disparities among the subnations or states of the countries. Most of the countries believed that the gains of the country will be equitably distributed among the subnations. For example, if India achieved development, all Indian states will achieve the development. No, that has not happened. If India achieved development, some states will achieve development, some states will not achieve development. You can see how inequality exists among the Indian states. Some states are ahead, some states are backward, because some states have had the opportunity for the development. For example, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka. But whereas when it comes to Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, they have failed because these states are landlocked and poorly governed. So these are all the problems. So therefore, the trickle-down effect is not realized in many countries. Hence, there are advanced states, there are backward states exist within the country. The redistributive justice clearly explains that the government should have taken necessary steps to reduce inequalities, but the realities are entirely different. So the two important objectives of the Planning Commission of India, one is achieving development, and the second one is reducing inequality. Somehow, in India, the government has been succeeded to achieve little development, but at the same time, the governments have failed to reduce the inequalities. Let me talk that little later about India. So according to the World Bank definition of lower income countries and lower middle income, low upper middle income and high income countries, where is India stands? Where is India stands? Lower mid. So India is the diversified country having all the features explained above. India has moved from low income to lower middle income group at the world level. Now recently, India has moved from lower income to lower middle income. What is the threshold? $1,025. To cross the threshold of $1,025, India has taken 70 years to move from low to lower middle income group. Even today, the India's per capita income is around $2,000. If you want to move from lower middle income to upper middle income, again we need $3,995, meaning another $2,000 of per capita income has to be increased if you wish to move from lower middle income to upper middle income. This has to be achieved by 2047. Not only that, We are talking about Viksit Bharat. This is the Amrut Kal. During this Amrut Kal, we are targeting to achieve the Viksit Bharat. What do you mean by Viksit Bharat? It is nothing but the developed country. Meaning, if you want to become a developed country, your per capita income in terms of dollars should be $12,375. Each Indian individual should have the per capita income of more than $12,000. Is it possible? Very few. Again, the important questions here again. Okay, today the per capita income of India is $2,000. Do each and every individual is having the capacity of earning $2,000? No, impossible. There are people lack of money. There are beggars. There are people even today suffering and trying to get their 2 meals. Even today. Meaning, since the inequality is exist and the inequality is increasing, not only exist, since the inequality is increasing, India may achieve development, but all Indians will not achieve development. Some will become superpowers, some will develop, and large majority of the Indian population will be left behind. They will be living like the poor. Okay. What are the implications of these kind of the inequalities? And poverty and inequality both exist together. Until you reduce the inequality, you cannot solve the problem of poverty. Until you achieve to reduce the inequality, you cannot solve the problem of poverty. So therefore, the major problem here, it is not the poverty, it is the inequality. The major problem is not the development, it is the inequality. If you reduce the inequality, definitely all will move towards development. Otherwise, some will move towards development. Large section of the people will not be able to get their food itself. So that is not the right way of achieving the development. The sustainable development, it is not the development of the few, it is the development of the all people, all sections of the people, all parts of the people, all communities of the people, all regions of the people. So if we fail to do this kind of the justice, that is reducing inequality and achieving development, what happens? In terms of education, what is this? If you have education, that will have the enlarging the choice, that will provide you the lots of opportunities. If you don't have education, then you have to do the regular work, patient's job, or the another small wage works. You cannot earn 2 lakhs per month. You cannot earn 5 lakhs per month. A doctor's earning is around 5 lakhs. An engineer's earning is around 3 to 4 lakhs per month. Whereas a labor in agriculture, it takes only 300, 400, 500 rupees, sometimes 600, 700 rupees. Total for a month, if he gets 10 days or 15 days of work, not in all the days, he will not get the work because it is a informal section. What happens? Those who have income, they will provide good education to their children. Those do not have the income, they cannot ensure the education to their children. Those who have income, they will put their child in a very quality, good schools, good colleges. They could able to entitlement to have the doctorship or engineership, and the poor man's poor labor's son will complete SSLC and become dropout. Then again he move on to the work with his father or mother, and he earns only 300, 400, 500 rupees. Where the other person who got the education with enlarging choices, the scope for earning income is more. So again, inequality increases inequality. Inequality increases inequality. That is the problem. And again, comes to health. What do we talk about the health? So it is for longer, healthier life. Not only leading the longevity, it should be longer as well as healthier. Then only you can utilize your power. Then only you can, when you have a good health, then only it could be possible for you to work. Otherwise, how come it is possible? So therefore, health is also important. And then income, as you all know, the standard of living. Today, whether you accept or not, the people decide what car you have, what mobile you have, what dress you are wearing, what type of house you are living, right? So the standard of living, the people judge you based on these things. So you need income. And then the most important thing, when you have poverty, achieving sustainable development is ruled out. You cannot achieve the sustainable development with poverty. Poverty is threat to the sustainable development. If you want to achieve sustainable development, you have to solve the problem of poverty. If you want to solve the problem of poverty, you have to solve the problem of inequality. So these are interconnected. There is a nexus among these things: sustainable development, poverty, inequality, development. They have a kind of nexus. Until you solve the problem of poverty, you cannot achieve sustainable. Until you solve the problem of inequality, it's impossible to solve the problem of poverty. If you want to reduce inequality, you have to take a very strict, efficient tax policies. Do the governments have dare to take that kind of thing? Policies, implement the policies, take the decisions? No, it is not possible. It is not feasible or possible. I don't know exactly, but till today it has not happened. The poor pays more tax than a rich. This is the truth. This is what Thomas Piketty has proved in his development and inequality, in his research work, development and inequality. Okay, so therefore, there's one more issue of that poverty and inequality. Sorry, poverty and sustainable development. As I already mentioned, the Kuznets hypothesis is originally used to explain the issues of environmental degradation, pollution, environmental problems. And the same concept of Kuznets inverted U hypothesis is also used to explain the relationship between the inequality and the development. According to Kuznets' hypothesis, inverted U hypothesis, in the initial stages of development, as we achieve development, inequality will also increases. Look at here, this curve. As the income increases, inequality is also increases. Look at here, inequality also increases. After the economy reached a certain level of development, the inequality tends to go down. Okay, in the beginning days of development, inequality also increases along with development. After certain point of time, still you are increasing your development, the inequality reduces. So therefore, the efficient economy is one which reduces inequality. So there are two forces now. One is you are achieving development, at the same time you are reducing inequality, meaning the more sustainable, equitable economy is being evolved. That is the right way of doing the development. So even after the 79 years, 80 years in India, still inequality is increasing. It is not reducing. I have the data, I will show you later. Okay, let me understand. You all know this, the interlinkages between the investment, infrastructure, economy, poverty, everything, they are interlinked. Just I have tried to show. So these are all some of the examples I am showing you here, just to understand what is the GDP of the developed countries and what is the GDP of the low income countries. So there are two pictures here. One is the GDP of some of the countries and per capita income of the countries. So here you can easily understand. You can easily understand. Look at here. The GDP of high income countries, it is very, very, very high. You could see that bar diagram, very high. Whereas the income of low income countries is not appearing itself. You cannot see the income of lower income countries. Like that, even per capita income, look at here. So it's very close to zero. The lower income countries per capita income, it is very close to zero. Whereas, look at here, the per capita income of high income countries, particularly the group of 3, it is more than 20,000. It is more than 20,000. That is the amount of inequality exists with the development. So I have taken some of the examples of some of the countries. So those who are the low income countries, look at here, the lower income countries: Nepal, Benin, Togo, Zimbabwe. So in these countries, the development process is very slow. Let me go to the next slide. Lower middle income countries. I am showing you here the countries during 1978 considered as lower income countries, and now they have moved from lower income to lower middle income. As in today, the countries Bangladesh, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, India, Ghana, these countries were in low income category during 1987, and somehow they could able to move from low income to lower middle income. Lower middle income, it's between $1,025 to $3,995. So the income of these countries now it is between 1,000 and 4,000. And India, Ghana, Kenya, Sri Lanka, these are the countries. And lower middle income to lower middle income countries. These countries like Philippines, Bolivia, Guatemala, Morocco, these countries' income was between $1,000 to $4,000. Even today, they have not moved from lower middle income to upper middle income. Still, their income is less than $4,000. These Philippines, Bolivia, Guatemala, and Morocco. These countries like Peru, Colombia, Jamaica, Botswana, Mexico, Malaysia, Costa Rica, these countries per capita income was less than 4,000, and now they have moved from lower middle income to upper middle income. Now these countries per capita income is between $4,000 to $12,000 per year. So these countries, the progressive countries, we call them as the progressive countries. They are moving towards the development, but they have not crossed $12,000 threshold. Look at here, upper middle to upper middle. So they have achieved the upper middle income per capita income. But still even today, their income is between $4,000 to $12,000 per year. What are these countries? Chile, Brazil, Panama, Iran, Algeria, Gabon, and Greece. These countries were identified as upper middle income countries, and even today, they are upper middle income countries. Chile is not developed country, Brazil is not developed country, even Iran is not developed country. It is the middle income country. Okay. Okay. And then high income countries. Israel, Spain, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom. Some of the examples that I have taken, not all. Some examples I am showing. So these countries are high income countries. Israel was achieved development before 2000, and even today it is treated as high income countries. Spain, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and others. Okay. I am explaining here some of the linkages between energy per capita income and energy efficiency. Because the new economics says until we achieve the energy efficiency, it is impossible to achieve the efficient, sustainable development. The development should have an efficient energy usage. Otherwise, it is impossible to achieve sustainable development. Because in the whole world, there are no activities which can be done without energy. If I'm talking, I'm using energy. If you're watching, you are also using energy. Your food prepared by using energy. Your movement uses energy. Production uses energy. Agriculture uses energy. You say any single work or the activity which is possible without energy. So therefore, we call it as structural change. So it is not simply increasing the consumption of energy. It is increasing consumption of energy and achieving efficiency and reducing the use of energy. So that is the structure. So your sustainable development is largely defined by the efficient use of energy, and this efficient use of energy is possible when you have when you achieve the structural change in the pattern of energy consumption. So therefore, there is a linkage between per capita income development, energy consumption, and energy efficiency. Okay, look at here. Most of these lower income countries, energy efficiency, it's very less, just 1.79. 1 point. Look at here, Ghana. If you talk about high, it is 3 point, whereas Kenya, it is 0.25. Energy efficiency of Philippines is just 2.14, whereas Costa Rica, it's 0.92. Look at these countries like upper middle income countries, 1.34, and Brazil is 1.95, almost nearing 2. And this Israel, Spain, Ireland, it is 2.47. So meaning the countries which have been efficiently able to achieve the structural change in the energy consumption pattern, they are able to achieve the sustainable development. So even among the developed countries, all countries are not sustainably achieved the development. Look at here the last slide, what I have shown you. Look at here, Ireland could able to achieve the sustainable development, but UK's economy is not sustainable economy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A poor country can achieve sustainable development, but at the same time, a poor country cannot achieve sustainable development. A high income country can achieve sustainable development like Ireland, but at the same time, UK failed to achieve sustainable development. The UK's per capita income is higher than the Ireland per capita income, but UK's economy is not the sustainable economy. Okay, let me move on to the other issues. These are all the some of the related to our concluding remarks. Some of the remarks regarding the poverty and development and inequality. So in 2018, 4 out of 5 people below the international poverty line lived in rural areas, meaning the poor are more in rural area, and half of the poor are children. Women represents the majority of the poor in the most of the regions among the same age groups. About 70% of the global poor aged 15 and over have no schooling. The, 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 the poor are identified as the rural, women, children, no education, like that. And some of the sub-Sahara Africa countries like Nigeria, Democratic Republic, Congo, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Madagascar. So half of the people in these countries, even today, they are extremely poor. More than 40% of the global poor live in economies affected by fragility. Fragility means where there is no resilient. If you talk about the industry is not strong. It is not strong enough to sustain the any threat. Agriculture is not sustained. Your international trade is not sustained, and you are not having a strong linkages, strong framework. That is the meaning of fragility. So, meaning lot of fluctuations are there. Conflict, violence. So these are the countries where the possibilities of being poor are very high. Okay, this is somehow the COVID-19 has created a new kind of poor, that is called new poor. The people, those who are in the in the informal sector, particularly in the urban area, they have become suddenly they have become poor. They were earning, leading their life. Because of this COVID, immediately they have become poor. And sufficient initiations have not taken, not only in India, in all over the world, to rehabilitate this kind of the people, those who are affected by COVID-19. So they were given some food and others, but their rehabilitation has not taken place. Re-providing the employment opportunity has not been done. So because of that, so this poverty line is supposed to go down, but it has increased. Look at here, it has jumped back. So therefore, the COVID-19 has again increased the inequality, created new poor. You could have been heard about the millionaires have been increased in India during the COVID-19. Billionaires doubled in India during COVID-19. But at the same time, number of poors also increased. So this is how, whether it is threat or the whether it is the boom, whether it is the natural disaster or the COVID-19, the rich become more rich and poor become more poor. So this is the problem. This is the problem we have. So what I already discussed about the new poor, and this new poor is probably you find in urban area, in the informal sector, and these people have struggled a lot to lead their life. Okay, so this is the inequality exists in the world. I am showing here you how the inequality exists in the world. Look at here, the red is the high inequality, the dark red, like in, look at here, this is the world map. In India, we have yellow color. Yellow color meaning it is between 30 to 34% of Gini coefficient, 0.3 to 0.34 Gini coefficient, whereas the dark red it's 0.6 and above. Light red it is 0.55 to 59. You know the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient maximum value is 1 and the minimum value is 0. If you are near to 0, meaning you have lesser inequality. If you are having near to 0.67 or greater than that, you have high inequality in the country. So this is how, look at here, in Russia, the inequality is higher than India, and in some of the Scandinavian countries, the inequality is less. Even in Japan, inequality is less. You can see here, Japan, inequality is less. China is also inequality is higher than India. Though it is called as the communist country, you can see here, inequality is in China is higher than India. In most of the South African countries, the inequality is high. There are huge rich people and there are huge poverty. Even in South America, the poverty, the inequality is high. Even in South America, like your Brazil and other countries, the inequality is very high. In India, it is the inequality is not same in all the states. Look at here. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. Yeah. In India, it is, look at here. Karnataka, it is between 30 to 40%. So below 10%, that is in Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, somewhere in Telangana, it is between 20 to 30%. Very high in most of the undeveloped states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Chhattisgarh. Inequality is very, very high. Even in Haryana, the inequality is very high. Okay, so therefore, inequality exists in India, not only at between the people, it is also among the states we can see the inequality. So this is a very interesting work by Thomas Piketty. He gives the information about the opportunity to achieve the development during 1946 and 1980, and then during 1980 to 2040. There are two different periods. So from 1946 to 1980, what was the development and inequality? During from 1980 to 2014. So what is the situation? Look at here, the first blue color bar diagram. The bottom 50% saw a 102% increase in pre-tax income between 1946 and 1980. Meaning 50% of the population which are staying at below, they had achieved 102% of growth. Whereas the top 0.1%, meaning 0.1 means 1 from 1000, 1 for 1000. 0.1 means it's not 100 for 1, it is 1 for 1000. So the top 0.1 saw 54 increase in pre-tax income between the same period, 1946-1980. What does it mean? The poor had more opportunity to achieve the development, and rich had lesser opportunities to achieve the development. But there is a fair justice, because even though 50% achievement, for example, a person is having 1 lakh rupees, 1% increase meaning 1000 rupees. Okay. Another person's income is 1000 rupees. Take an example of 2%. 2% of 1000, how much?
200.
2%. 20 rupees. Am I right or wrong? 200 means almost 10%, man. 20%. 200 means per 1000, 200 means 20%. I'm saying only 2%. A person is having 1 lakh rupees. He achieved 1% growth, meaning 1000 rupees added to 1 lakh. If a poor person achieved 2% growth and his base income is 1000 rupees, meaning his income increased by only 20 rupees. For a rich, even the 1% is given more income. For a poor, even the 2%, even 100% growth is also equal to only 1000 rupees. 1 lakh rupees, the person who is having, if he achieved 1%, for equal amount to be earned, a poor has to grow by 100%. Then only 1000 will become 2000. He will earn extra 1000. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell you here it is, so there was a scope for poor people to achieve the development. Okay. When it comes to 2018 to 2014, what is the reality? Look at here. Look at here. So the bottom 50% saw 1% increase in pre-tax income between 1980 and 2014. Only 1% growth. Whereas the top 0.1% saw a 320% increase in pre-tax income. Meaning inequality is increasing like anything. After 1980s and particularly after 1990s, in all over the world, even in India, inequality is increasing at higher rate because income earning opportunities are more for the rich people, not for the poor people. Right, sir. Sivanand Holy ಅವರೇ, ನೀವೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ.
Hello, dear participant. Please mute. Please unmute.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jiga. Okay. So this in globalized era, the rich have more income earning opportunities compared to the poor. Poor have very lesser opportunities. So that is what proved by Thomas Piketty. Okay. How the inequality exists in India? Let me give some of the informations. Inequality declined during post-independence till the early 1980s. As I already told, till 1980, from 1947 to 1980 in India, inequality slightly declined because of pro-poor progressive development strategies. After 1980, it began rising, the inequality began rising and has skyrocketed since the early 2000s. After 2000, Inequality skyrocket, increasing at high rate. So the trends of top income and wealth share track each other over the period. Meaning, those who had wealth, their income has increased. Those who had income, their wealth also increased. So both are supported. If you have income, you can earn, you can have wealth. If you have wealth, you can earn income. So both are supported each other, positively increased. The people, those who are not having the wealth, their opportunity of income earning is also very less. So lower wealth, low income, higher wealth, high income. Between 2014-15 and 22-23, the rise of top-end inequality has been particularly pronounced in terms of wealth concentrations. During this period, the people, those who are had wealth, their wealth has increased, not others. Those who are not having wealth, their wealth has not created. The people, those who had the wealth during 1914-15, they could able to achieve the additional wealth. Look at here, by 22-23, top 1%, income and wealth share is 22.6% and 40.1%. So this is the new figure given by the inequality report. India inequality report. You go and verify that. So in the year 22-23, top 1%, meaning top 1% means who are there? What's their share? Out of 1 crore, it is 1% meaning 1 lakh. 1.4 means 1,40,000 peoples. 1,40,000 people's income is around 22.6% and their wealth is 40%. Meaning only 1%'s income is 22 rupees. You understand like this. You have 100 rupees and there are 100 people. You have 100 rupees and you have 100 people. Only 1% of the people are having 22% of income. Only 1% of the people are having 40% of the wealth. Right? So this is what exists in India. This is what becoming in India. So are at higher, their highest historical levels, and India's top one income share is among the very high in the world. So we have rich people in all over the world, but the income of 1% of Indians is comparatively high with the rest of the world. So this is the reality we are seeing. Friends, so till now I have given you some of the overview about understanding the problem of the development. The development, achieving the development is not simply related with the only economic factors. It's related with many other social dimensions like inequality, poverty, sustainability, energy, and many more. So, friends, I have slides even for the Karnataka, but I'm not, due to the shortage of time, I'm not going into that. The only one slide I would like to show. This is the slide I would like to show. Look at here. So this slide talking about whether the inequality in Karnataka has reduced or increased. Friends, you all know the Kalyana Karnataka, previously called the Hyderabad Karnataka. During the Yediyurappa's period, they have renamed it by Kalyana Karnataka. And we have Kalyana Karnataka Development Board with the recommendations of Nanjundappa and the support of the court and by the legal provisions of Article J. 371J, and many more. The government of Karnataka is giving funds to this area and providing the extra reservation and giving extra reservation and many more things. Whether the inequality increased or decreased, that is the questions. Here, look at here, Ballari. The inequality compared with the state, it was 14.59% during 2013-14. Now it is 21%. Meaning, Ballari is moving far from Karnataka's per capita income. Bidar, it was 44% far from Karnataka, and now it is almost 50% far. Meaning, the income of Karnataka is 3 lakhs, the per capita income of Bidar is only 1.5 lakhs. Like that, Kalburgi, it is far from 54% far from Karnataka. Koppala, 50%. Raichur, 47%. And 49% in Yadgir. The most interesting thing, with all these 371J, KK, Karnataka, Kalyana Karnataka Development Board, and providing the utmost funds to this region, providing the reservation facilities. With all those, inequality is not reducing. Inequality is increasing. These districts are not converging with Karnataka. They are diverging with Karnataka.